Hello, chat. This is Magic Fish Radio, where we stream tabletop RPGs at least twice a week, and sometimes video game stuff, because why not? And as long as the current epidemic is completely not under control at all, I'm going to be staying in this house, never leaving my apartment, and streaming. If anyone had any concerns. Woohoo!
Wish that was an option for all of us.
So yeah, this is our Vampire the Masquerade game, or V5, set in the Roaring 1920s. On Saturdays, we do Exit to Eden, usually every other week with some kind of indie game one-shot. But because of last week my body completely went into failure, we'll be doing Exit to Eden this and the following Saturday. So, if all of this is confusing to you, please join our Discord, where things make more sense. Or at least they make more sense than they do on our Twitter, which makes no sense, or our Facebook, which Facebook won't let you see.
Gotta love social media.
Yeah. Discord is the most straightforward place to get information out of us. Woohoo. And with that, I am altogether ready to stop talking. Because I'm not the one running the game tonight, I'm just running the stream. Yay!
Right.
Oh.
That makes it my turn to
Take
talk.
It away, John!
Hello, all, and welcome back. Welcome to another wonderful Tuesday night where hopefully everyone's going to enjoy this, be they in-game, watching at home live, or watching us on YouTube or VOD, whenever you get around to it. Quick reminder before we get started, let's have everyone run through and reveal who they are once more, pulling back the veil. Beginning with directly below me from my perspective, Dracus, if you would.
All right. Hi, I'm Dracus. I'll be playing Vern Quincy, the resident information gatherer, because he's a fucked up sewer dweller. And he is the sibling of Isabel. So let Ari go next.
Hello. Hi, my name's Ari. I am going to be playing Isabel Quincy's, Vern's lovely sister, who is a Ventru, and who's a Ventru, the local business person, say Ventru speakeasy owner, who just did surprisingly well navigating her way through the most Ventru of Ventru cities.
Yeah. I feel like this is that bit where it's in the sequel series to Get Smart, when he was talking about how great he was and his dad's sitting there behind the desk going, son, I had to make a few calls. Because we did kind of rush through that. I am sorry. I wanted to do more with that, but we kind of had to expedite things last week. So I'll try to find another point for you to have to be all Ventru in front of the Ventru.
That's fine. If you want to make that work, you can. I'm excited to see what happens.
I mean, I think Isabel handled that in the best way possible, which is, I know nothing. I am here to learn from the best.
That's a little different from how she handled it, but fair enough.
Only a little. It's fairly accurate.
I think the subtext checks out. The subtext matches.
Better than me waltzing in there just like pretending to be people and everyone going, oh.
No one makes fun of my brother like that.
And then there was the awkward hand holding.
Scandal in London.
It's called
deeply entertaining.
It's called People Are Being Mean to My Brother, and I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about anything.
That exists to piss people off, so.
And you cost one poor nos 30 quid.
That's on them.
Yeah, we're clearly siblings. Can't you see the family resemblance?
Not anymore. And this brings us back to our lovely host.
I do find it extremely funny. There's probably some like family resemblance still there that like they can point out to each other.
But It's the earlobes, man. The earlobes.
Our bottom eyelashes are identical.
And now to the star of the show.
Not
Our
tonight.
babysitter.
Yeah. The sinking realization that the Malkavian is the adult in the party. Oh. Yes, I'm at Ms. Chrysala on the Twitters, and I'm playing Charisse Lowell, who is a Malkavian older than them, not an elder by any stretch. It's the 1920s, she's a Victorian lady, it wasn't that long ago. And, yeah, so she went to the Ventru court and was just like, I'm gonna shut up and let the Ventru talk. Or, rather, I'm gonna shut up and not talk over the Ventru. And just,
Hey.
yeah. And the prince was just sort of, alright, you can go, Malkavian. Oh, thank God! So, but now it seems we are heading towards the docks of the Thames, where the Malkavians hang out, of which there were none at the formal court, so drinks on the Thames with the Malk elders, what could go wrong?
It'll be fine.
Mama Leone. That's not ominous. So yes, so we are, our characters all met in Boston and are currently on a European tour.
Vampire Masquerade's European vacation.
We rode over here on a dirigible run by Tremere Blood Magic. Now we just have to get to Paris, where I'm picking up a book.
Where you have the opportunity to look over tomes.
And then on to Vienna, where hopefully Isabel won't die.
Hopefully.
And also, hopefully Vern will not kill their sire? We'll
Jury's
see.
out on that one.
Okay.
I mean, if it comes to a fight, I'm probably going to get my ass kicked.
Diablerie is a crime that every vampire wants to do. It's almost like their entire society is built around diablerie in some way.
It used to be.
I mean, it kind of still is.
Yeah, it to an extent, but it used to be a much bigger thing.
Well, yes, it's a thing you don't. It's a thing you don't do, because if you do it, it upsets the social order, and also people try to do it anyway.
It's what you oughtn't to do, but you do
You do.
anyway. The Inquisition.
I mean, like,
what a show.
The Inquisition. Here we go. The Second Inquisition is coming your way.
Not for
If we take
about
it to the
a
modern night,
century.
all be paid.
that's ridiculous. What? How would mortals get the level of surveillance needed to engage in such flimflammery?
We gave it to them.
Whoops.
Why?
To try and make them kill the Sabbat instead of us, and then it backfired.
Why did you think this was a good idea?
I mean, that's part of it. The other part is that after the events of September 11th, a lot of intelligence agencies started becoming aware of things in the dark web and then the deep dark web, otherwise known as the ShrekNet. And people started finding out about things they weren't supposed to know about. Oh no.
Oops.
Anyway, that won't happen.
Yeah.
That lore won't happen for 100 years ish. Right now, ShrekNet is a telephone operator, but they're really fun. Anyway,
So yeah.
we're in a carriage heading for the or we got to the docks, and then the Nos dude who was betting on the kids ditched us.
He stepped out first and vanished into the fog. Because it's London, of course there's fog.
Naturally.
And you find yourselves stepping out onto the streets leading out into the docks, the smell of the sea wafting into your faces. And for someone like you who's running Auspex constantly, it's, oh, I can tell exactly what fish died recently. Oh. Oh. So
I
yes.
thought New York smelled, but I thought New York docks smelled bad.
Well, London's had several more centuries to build up a good stench.
You gotta appreciate a centuries-old stench. Takes finesse. care.
Stubbornness
Yes.
to continue existing. Whew.
The three of you wander in and through the fog upon the docks. You find a couple of people still milling about, some dock hands stumbling into or out of one tavern or another that happens to be nearby that will either be lost or restructured at some point in the next 100 or so years. You'll find people that are still by the docks playing music, dancing, chatting. I would like, as you're walking through here, everyone to make me a wits awareness check, please.
All right.
I remembered what I forgot, and that was getting dice out.
It would help when playing most role-playing games.
Yes,
Yeah.
let me go get up the dice roller. Right?
Do I include my auspex?
That depends. Do you want to continue dealing with the funky fish smell?
No.
Then
You turn off your auspex because it smells bad.
Well, can I decide which scent? I'm still getting used to V5. I almost said 5e. I'm like, whoops, wrong dice.
I mean, you wouldn't be entirely wrong. Adds their auspex rating to all perception rolls. So for heightened senses, the way the power works here, it's everything goes up. Sense, smell, taste, sight, feet, touch. All of it gets cranked up at the same time. If you want to make me...
You know, I'm a kindred. I can deal with death funk of all kinds.
Oh, by the way, I got 3 successes.
I wouldn't have lasted this long in this life if I couldn't deal with bad smells.
If you want to deal with the fish funk and all of the other smells of the docks, like unwashed dock workers and sweat and everything, then you're more than welcome to, but I might get a little more descriptive with the scents you pick up as you go through.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, Vern, you held up your hands. There's 2 successes.
Didn't want to interrupt you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Those successes.
2 successes, 3 successes. And with your auspex, expecting somewhere around a 7.
6.
Yeah, I was not
See
off.
it. 6.
So yes. With 2 and 3 successes, both Vern and Isabel are able to notice when there's an individual there on the edges of the fog or on the edges of a gathering or one who's playing music. And there's a moment when your eyes will connect and there'll be a soft, almost subtle tilt of the head this way or a scratch of the neck and then a finger pointing that way. As you are under the impression that there are several kindred who were expecting your arrival and are trying to subtly nudge you on your way. Charisse, you have no problem picking up on all of the subtle hints. If anything, you're catching a few of the other kindred that the other 2 are missing, because apparently people were expecting you all to come, but we're also expecting you all to kind of miss some of the subtle and not so subtle hints. So while Isabel and Vern are both noticing like 2 or 3 kindred here or there, you're looking around and going, okay, there's 4 over there, there's 6 over here, there's that guy on the roof is actually holding up a sign going this way.
Well, I mean, I am the one who announced us.
Yeah.
So.
But there's also it's also a little easier for you to tell the difference between who hears a Malk and who hears a Ravnos.
Interesting.
Like the Ravnos are the ones that are acting a bit more social and are trying to be a little more subtle with the head tilt amongst a dance or a finger point by what looks like a scratch, and the Malks are the ones that tend to be holding the signs on the side of the roof or actually have an arrow tattooed onto the back of their body, and they've got the full like airbender tattoo down their arm, and they're just like stretching shirtless going that way. And they'll like hook their hand at the end so that you understand it's like down that way, make a left.
Yes,
Okay.
I know my people. And this is why they don't go to court, among other reasons.
Someone's an asshole, but they've got nowhere else to go. It doesn't take you very long before you you start approaching this one, not run down, but it looks like a slightly less used warehouse on the docks. And the only thing that really leads you to believe that there's anything going on out here is the fact that there are 4 people outside the door leading in, 2 on the left and 2 on the right, and they're the sort of people that don't even seem to hide the fact they're kindred. Like, they are clearly, they're not trying to hide the pale with blush of life. They're not trying to hide the subtle otherworldly features that they might have as Ravnos or Malkavian. And I mean, as you approach,
that said, the court of the Vontru court had like walking masquerade breaches among the Shemisi, so it's all a matter of scale and perspective.
Yes, but again, you don't know how much time they spend walking down the streets of London town. Malkavians and Ravnos would normally not have that same issue, but they're at the very least at this point in time, they're acting like 4 pale white beacons. They're a giant quest marker for the main quest, is what the 4 of them are. They're that pale white light that goes here. You're coming here. We are the main quest. And, oh, you're going to go follow a side quest right now. Okay, fine. We'll be here until you're ready. You'll run out of side quests.
Ironically, I am also Malkavian. They could have just used the network to tell me where to go without all this theatrics. But
you say as you approach.
I'm thinking about it. But I'm thinking about it to hubby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, couldn't they have just...
I understand, darling. I do. I think this is more for their benefits than for yours.
Oh, they don't get a lot of visitors.
And
they're all excited.
Possibly, but my love, all I say is I know you don't normally need to hear this, but best behavior inside, please, for you and the other 2. Mama is she's a well-respected Malkavian, and none of you need any more dementations.
I don't have any dementation. All right.
Exactly, my love, and you don't need any more.
All right.
Don't piss her off and you won't leave here with 6.
At that point, as they're approaching the creepy dudes at the door, while there's still a little bit of... Well, I mean, she knows that at least one of those 4 people has auspex, but she's just gonna quietly, kind of put a hand gently on each younger person's shoulder and say, all right, now, this isn't quite the dangers being in the Vontru court, but do also be on good behavior here.
Naturally.
Okay, because Mama Leonie is an elder, and is entitled to respect, but, just... But will probably not have us flayed alive if we misstep, but who knows?
That was an option earlier?
Well, I mean, you saw some of the people in the Vontru court with the inside-out faces.
Never mind.
Well, yeah, but those were mortals. I think those were like ghouls. I thought
some of them were, not all of them, but some of them were.
Oh shit!
Some did that to themselves by choice. Some did that to people because they disrespected them. But not all of them were ghouls. No.
And some were Shemisi who just thought, how do I prove my Shemisi dick is bigger? Metaphorically speaking, since...
Also sometimes literally, to be fair.
Sometimes literally.
And sometimes they go quantity over quality.
Clan Shemisi, genderqueer before it was known to be a thing.
They were genderqueer when most civilizations were still accepting of it. A a lot of ancient civilizations were a lot more accepting of it than we are
True.
now.
It
True.
fills me with rage to know
True.
this.
Yeah. What's really depressing is how many ancient civilizations that their modern successors have bigger issues with it than the ancient ones did. And it's like, really?
Did we really take these steps backwards for centuries? Anyway.
Well, Christianity made it profitable, so yes.
Not just, but they had a big hand in it, yes. So yes,
Anyway,
as you
back
as you
to make-believe, a land of escapism.
yes. The dark land of escapism where all of this shit still happened.
Hey,
But at
all
least
the shits will have happened later.
But at least we still had the Shemisi who were keeping it cool with force and blood as necessary.
Yes. Yes. I do love those Shemise. Anyway, as you are approaching the door, the two closest to the left and right doors both pull them open, while the furthest out two wind up coming round and sort of helping usher the three of you in. As you step inside, you enter into this sizable, mostly empty warehouse that is filled with candles, but they're kept like very far apart, and they're all present and they're all burning. They're all providing a very dim light, but there's not enough fire presence to actually start causing any panic among the kindred, as large enough flames will cause you all to start needing to make willpower rolls to avoid running away in fear.
But this isn't a nice enough warehouse to have electricity or gas lamps.
No. Just a metric shit ton of candles to provide a dim enough light for you all to approach. And there's some furniture strewn about here, old repurposed couches, lounging chairs that look like they were procured from one wealthy estate or another that, I've grown bored with this one. I've had it for a whole year. I'm going to get something new. This is perfectly nice. We don't know what the fuck's wrong with you, but we'll take it.
Parents were totally like that, weren't they?
Picking stuff up off the curbside in the fancy neighborhoods on Sunday mornings. Oh,
No,
Saturday
they
mornings.
were putting things out there on the curbside.
The ghouls were the ones who came to take it out of the house. The ghouls were just the moving company that were hired to swap out the furniture.
Good idea.
It's probably very profitable for some kindred somewhere.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It also makes furnishing the demences of clans like the Malkavians or the Nosferatu or the Ravnos, who tend to live on the fringes of civilized society, more comfortable. That being said, this looks like a place where perhaps a lot of the Malkavians and or Ravnos wind up crashing once day starts to break. But basically in the dead center of this warehouse is a large table that looks like it's able to seat around 7 or 8 people, and there is a single figure sitting down in one seat with a veil pulled up over her head, or over their head rather, because you can't exactly identify them, and they are just sitting there with hands on the table and just otherwise sitting there motionless.
I slowly approach the table, kind of watching out for anyone going, like, holding me back or getting in my way, just,
Please, child, have a seat. There's only so many hours until sunrise. Don't. Just because we have eternity doesn't mean we can afford to waste time.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Mama Leonie, I presume?
See, I am.
Yes, it's lovely to make your acquaintance.
And yours as well, Miss Charisse. Mr. Vern, Miss Isabel, please take your seats.
Thank you.
Of course.
Awkwardly tries to sit like a normal person because I haven't done that in a very long time.
Oh, child, you don't need to worry. I'm not going to hold you to any sort of formal restriction. As she pulls back the
Just
veil.
like
The-
curl
these
up then.
eyes that are just completely grayed out. And you get the impression she's probably quite blind. The three of you are a long way from home. Quite the trip ahead of you all still. Oh, dear sweet Isabel. I suggest you take care. Things are going to get very, very strange for you going forward. Sweet Vern, all I can say is I'm sorry.
Thanks. That's not encouraging, though.
And, I hate to inform you, child, but you won't be finding the body anytime soon. It's going to be quite, yes, you get the impression she's talking to you when she says that, yeah. You won't be finding the body anytime soon, I'm afraid. You're looking at another couple of decades before events line up to put that back in your reach.
Well, to be perfectly frank, that's better than I was expecting at this point, so thank you.
Yes. You will need to kill someone to get that. It is, it's not going to be a pretty picture, I can tell you that much. Fucking collectors. But yes. Well, I'm sure you didn't all want to dip that far into your futures. So, how can Mama Leone be of service? I know you all think you came here as a courtesy, but you all have questions to ask. You may as well ask them now before I have to start just spouting out the answers before you get to the questions, leaving everyone else at the table terribly confused. It's happened a lot. I know what it sounds like.
Well, to be perfectly frank, you two have a lot more questions than I do.
I think my questions are pretty straightforward in terms of I'm just looking for Watts. And what happens, happens, I suppose.
Yes. As I said, I'm sorry about that.
I wasn't expecting it to go well.
Let us hope your stomach and willpower are both strong moving forward.
Noted.
Sure. Well, after I've talked with our good Queen Anne, Is there anything even for me to find in Austria?
Child, there's something to find everywhere. But for you personally, vengeance for a bloodline you've never known, or death, maybe both. A great deal of animosity. If you play your cards right, what's left of your bloodline's fortune. Also potentially a fate worse than death. You're at that point where everyone's decisions are going to cause the future to fracture in wildly different directions.
I'm in no mood for vengeance. I have no my connection to the bloodline of those of Johann sires. I never knew those people. Why would I avenge? Why would I enact vengeance on behalf of someone I've never met? Someone I never. I thought there might be something to find there, but
I mean, the vengeance would be so that you could reclaim whatever was left of their fortunes. As you're not going to be able to get that without prying it from the cold, dead hands of those who now control it. There are many secrets you can find about the individual members if you can still find any of their lost journals, but that really depends on how much you care about that.
Knowledge like that? I must learn it.
Very well. You may find some in the ruined remains of the old estate. Any others might be kept as trophies by those who would see you dead or you would have to kill. So it depends how badly you want to know what.
So if we want to know who took out Isabella's ancestors, we need only look at who carries their fortunes at present. Do they do so openly?
Oh, yes. The Chemise and the Tremere of Vienna do not hide the fact that they did what they did.
Oh, goodness.
After they went and framed the venture of the city for an attempted coup against the prince, and a blood hunt was called. Narrowly evaded that one myself. I was in the city at the time. Or
It's fortunate for you then.
will be in the city. There was definitely fire in the city at the time. Now I can't recall which was which. It's the trouble of existing everywhere across the time stream so long as I exist. No, that must be from the future. I remember bombs. There were no bombs used in the death of your kin.
That's mildly frightening, thanks.
Oh, child, you haven't seen frightening yet. Give it another 8 or 11 years, depending upon when the news reaches you. That's when things are going to get bad. And it's going to be the measuring stick for bad for a very long time. At least for the mortals.
All right then.
Well, hopefully we'll be back to Boston by then.
Yes, you will. And you'll be there for a very long time. Unless you veer down that path. But you'll still be in the Americas for the foreseeable future. There's a chance you'll all come back to London during the dethroning, but that one's entirely up to you.
Dethroning?
I don't think I want to be in London. If I understand where you're going with that, I don't think I want to be present for this just because of the fallout.
And on the throne by then. It'll be someone else that needs dethroning.
Oh.
But don't worry. You don't have to show up. Your presence isn't integral to the success of that. So long as that French jackass shows up with the rest of his coterie, things will move along in a reasonable fashion. I mean, really, it's the American that's going to turn the tide, but he only shows up so long as that French asshole is with him.
I'm not even going to pretend to understand what's going on anymore.
Sherry's just writing things down in shorthand in a little notepad. She's like, ooh, I wonder what this turns out to be.
Kind of looking over Sharice's shoulder going,
that's not English.
She makes sense of this. I don't.
Let me put it to you this way. When things are bad enough that mages, changing breeds, and kindred all decide to go, we need to work together, things are bad.
That's bad.
Yes. Give it 100 some odd years, it'll be that bad. I suggest you all start following the Nosferatu's talents for allying with Bone Nars and Ratkin, because branching out like that will be important for the rest of you. then Vern, you know full well that the Nosferatu do deal with the changing breeds that also exist on the fringes of civilized society, the Bone Gnawers, which are a tribe of werewolves, and the Ratkin, which are obviously the were-rats. But of course, it's one of those sort of open secrets. Everyone knows it, but no one talks about it, because to say it out loud would basically be to scream treason. But so long as the information traded is valuable to the ruling parties, they're willing to just sort of ignore that it happens. But if it becomes public knowledge, then they have to do everything, because you never know when someone's there looking for weaknesses, or someone's there from the from an elder that has their own opinions on how things need to be run. And some kindred actually have no idea, because they don't pay attention to the Nas, because lessers. No,
They're lost.
Damn straight it is.
Well, I don't. Do you have any insights on what we're going to run across or face in Paris, or is it just going to be a nice leisurely stroll as I go and read an interesting book and then we move on to Vienna?
It would be a nice change of pace.
The Quincy's will make a powerful ally if they travel with you to a certain bar in the streets of Paris. You'll know it when you see it. Beyond that, Paris is a welcoming enough city, provided somebody doesn't pick a fight, eat the prince's favorite ghoul, you know, the usual things that will get a blood hunt put on you. All I'm saying is when you find the guy who's 6'3" with blonde hair and green eyes, don't feed on him. It's tempting, I know, especially with that butt. Do not feed on him. I've seen what happens in the timeline when you do that, Isabel. Don't. Unless you just want to have a wonderful experience shortly before you are grasping eternal death, at which point it's not my place to tell you not to ride that.
I can keep it in my mouth, I guess.
I mean, that was part of the problem, dear.
You know what I mean.
Oh, I know, child. I know. Oh, we Malkies know a lot. There's a reason why we in the Nosferatu are the ones kept as the spy masters of most princes. One bit of advice I would give, if you do plan on going to Vienna and you do plan on potentially getting yourselves involved with the clans of ill repute in quest for either knowledge or fortune, might I recommend guns, preferably big ones, or hiring some well-to-do mercenaries or some relatively well-trained combat ghouls.
Mm-hmm.
All would be advisable unless you want to have a marginally more difficult time. But if you avoid getting involved with those clans and hide what you are, then you'll probably be fine.
Might be able to hire some people. Or yeah, unfortunately, my combat expertise is primarily about telling other people to do that for me. Perhaps I should change that at some point. I'm seeming to learn.
Well, mostly it comes down to on what you're willing to offer, because I do know that there's still a few Hessian Bruja that travel between Österreich and Deutschland, and they can be bought. their loyalty will always be to coin and blood.
Interesting. Gosh, it's almost like it's almost like we would probably have an easier time if we had the guy who had more money than me and also is really good at using a gun.
Why do you think I'm giving you the opportunity to balance the scales? I mean, it's either that or you could just hang out with the Hessians and pay them for combat training. Effectively buy a couple of dots in firearms or melee.
Mm-hmm.
I have dots in brawl and melee, but not firearms.
The storyteller is telling you it's theoretically an
Yeah.
option if you don't mind taking some time off in the story to go, we're going to train for 3 months.
I mean,
That said, I could definitely use some enforcers. That could be very useful.
They're not cheap.
No, I imagine not. But hopefully, they're willing to see the big. But hopefully, if the big picture works out for me, I won't. The cheapness won't be an issue.
Well, it's not just expensive in coin, but expensive in blood. Because you're not hiring ghouls, you're hiring kindred.
Indeed.
And they tend to be more loyal and ready when you keep them fed and they don't have to go hunting themselves.
And Isabel cracks into a smile and says, "Well, I may know a bit of I may know a ground that could be agreeable as long as they keep things quiet."
You'll have to see for yourselves when you meet them.
Of course.
I'll send word along and someone will direct you on your first night in Wien. Might even have them meet you at the station ahead of time.
You can arrange that?
Child.
Sorry, yes. Obviously you're an elder and very powerful. I apologize for the surprise.
No, I'm a Malkavian. I can reach almost anywhere, same as the Nosferatu. Our connections run deep and beyond whatever you venture to think it does. If you ever wish to continue to maintain or gain power in a city, you make sure that the local Malkavians and local Nosferatu are on your side.
Which is
Brett's like, not helping.
Well, I have two of them right now.
which is, well, what makes Boston unusual is that there's a Malkavian as prince and not words in the ear of the prince.
I'm quite familiar with young Quentin. Always strange to watch a kindred reincarnate into another kindred.
Indeed.
Well, usually that sort of bit of the cycle doesn't tend to repeat quite like that.
that can happen.
Oh, reincarnation is absolutely something that happens when we die. Our souls venture on, are judged, and then return in a new life. It just so happens that when one is a kindred and dies, they don't usually reincarnate as someone who then gets embraced again.
So,
Quentin?
who was Prince King previously?
Well, let's see. Well, he's been 2 Ventru and a Bruja. Bear in mind, he doesn't know that. I only know because dear sweet Uriel stopped by for tea. What, didn't you think it was terribly odd that he was a Malkavian that acted so much like a militant venturer?
Well, I mean, there isn't really one kind of Malkavian.
True, but the fact that he acts like a militant venturer and a bit like the philosopher warriors of old Bruja.
That makes sense. I just assumed he listened to the right people.
There's also a reason why 2 6th-generation kindred decided that he was worth following. You well know that he's a very young kindred, but he's basically propped up by his group of knights, which are all just a generation below him, and then again 2 other kindred of 6th generation that are just like, no, he's qualified to be a prince. We're more than happy to let him be the prince, and we're just gonna back his play because, yeah, he's qualified to do this. We don't give a shit. Look, we've seen what princes go through. We're more than happy to make this his job.
You get to wear the bullseye t-shirt. Congratulations.
I suppose it does require some level of will to wear the. You know what? I'm not going to finish that thought. Actually, Isabel sort of is trying to say thing. Realizes the company. She's like, I'm not going to finish that thought. Actually,
it's all right. Even in the timelines where you do finish the thought, I don't hold it against you.
I appreciate that. Because I think because like the full thought is it requires some level of madness to wear the crown, and she's like, wait, that's actually probably really rude, and then stops.
I mean, in front of anyone else, it probably would be, but
we're used to it.
Huh.
I've also had this conversation 173 times.
Oh.
There's a lot of fractals of how this conversation goes going forward.
And how many of them do I? And how many of them do I make a complete fool of myself?
Only 2.
Oh, that's good. That's good odds.
Yeah. To be fair, in one of those, it's because you didn't quite knit your dress correctly, and then it got caught on a nail, and then your whole gown tore off. You were very embarrassed. However, that timeline was already taken care of because you had somebody take care of that threading originally about what was it? 3 months back. Sorry, I sometimes have to sift through the remains of old timelines to make sure I'm following the right thread back.
I'm glad we all avoided that one.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yes. To be fair, that was also one of the timelines where she wasn't here with you, young Vern.
Huh. I didn't even think there were timelines where we didn't go to this point together.
Most likely because you didn't make it through that timeline.
Oh, mostly it's because those were the timelines where he didn't become kindred.
Oh.
There were timelines where that was possible?
Oh yes, there were quite a few actually. In one of them, you lived to be a ripe old age.
I don't think I want to know.
Oh, very well, very well. There's also more than a few timelines where you're not Nosferatu. Or were. Technically, they don't exist anymore because you are Nosferatu.
This is a silly question. In any of the timelines where I don't become kindred, am I happy?
Yes. But to be fair, it's only one. To be fair, it's also the shortest of your non-kindred timelines.
Well, I mean, naturally it's going to be shorter.
Well, no, I mean, by comparison to the aborted mortal timelines, it's the shortest of them. Well, semi-shortest. There is another one where you die unhappy, but that's due to tuberculosis. This one's a little bit longer than that, but shorter than the most.
Sounds like for me that this was that being embraced was, well, as I always thought, probably a good thing for me in the long term.
40-60.
You mean 60-40, I hope.
40-60.
Well, that's disheartening.
Huh. I have to say, this is all a bit beyond me. I'm used to seeing the unseen and hearing the unheard in the present. Even when I'm not particularly looking for it, it finds me.
Yes, a fate suffered by most Malkavians. But when you reach a certain age and a certain generation, you'll be able to see the way things were, the way things are, the way things will be, and the way things could have been, and in some cases, the way things should have been. Trying to fix the way things should have been is the thing that has driven many Malkavians to beyond the brink, to the point where they were broken out of the network.
Oh, goodness.
That can happen?
When you break hard enough.
May I ask a very impertinent question? Why do you dwell here when there's such a big, hulking problem directly under the city that would seek to, I don't know what to us if he woke up?
Because I know he won't. Not for another 102 years. But even then, the likelihood of him waking up in 102 years really depends on whether or not Salot succeeds in coming back.
I'm sorry, wait, he's not? I thought... What?
Salot,
Okay.
antediluvian of the Salubri.
The what? I've never heard of the Salubri.
Yeah, there are Salubri in Boston. There's a couple of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad, sorry.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't mentioned it since like session 2. So
Sorry, I was treating it like base Camarilla setting where the fact that Salubri even existed is not actually something everyone knows.
I like the Salubri far too much to have them be that restricted. So while there's still a fairly small clan, there's more Salubri than there are in World of Darkness canon. Because
my bad.
And if you want to play them, you're more than welcome to.
My apologies for the misconception there.
No worries. Again, I haven't mentioned the Salubri presence since like session 2. So yes. So, I mean, it's entirely possible you have no idea who Salot is. But of course, she told you who Salot is, so now you know.
All of that group of circumstances why all of the different denizens of the night need to start working together more openly?
Adjacent and parallel to, but not quite in line. Both events run perpendicular to another one that occurs, and there are timelines where they don't all quite intersect at the right points.
Wrong character. Charisse is just writing in shorthand in her little notepad, just like, oh my goodness. I really want to, like, she's like, she's not sure if she believes what's happening, but she's really curious to look back on this in 100 years and see what's happened.
Do you want to see as I see, child? I see the doubt in you.
Well, I don't know if it's doubt. It's just, well, like you said, timelines diverge and are derailed, so to speak, and I'm curious. I'm very much curious to look. Well, if I should live so long, as to look back on this conversation in the future and see what all of this came to be.
Would you two like to see as a Malkavian sees? Take a step across the veil of time as well?
Not going to break my mind.
No, not break your mind. I'll show you something within a reasonable amount of time frame that it wouldn't shatter you.
Now I'm
What is
curious.
what is the asking price?
Be kind to Malkavians. We like
Well,
having friends.
I think I'm doing okay job at that so far, but I
Also, in the event a Malkavian were to require your help, I would suggest strongly that you be of service to them, whether you know that Malkavian or not, because that may or may not intersect with 7 different timelines that may or may not prevent the burning of the East Coast of the United States.
The entire East Coast.
Well, only the entire East Coast in 3 of those 7 timelines.
I have
Still
to say,
not
my
a great chance
curiosity.
to take.
I mean, if I've taught you two nothing, it's that my clan doesn't have the best public relations all of the time, and we like having friends.
Well, I've found your running of the city to be most agreeable.
She turns her old hands over and she just lays out these gnarled, creaking fingers. Because, again, she looks like she was probably turned when she was like in her late 80s or early 90s.
She most likely had the sight before she was turned.
Mm-hmm.
Just now she's refined it.
So
I think, in my head.
So she holds out her creaked hands in the event you all want to see as a Malkavian can see.
All right,
And see a little further you would be inclined to.
I already see as a Malkavian, but I have to say I'm incredibly curious right now. So may I?
Yeah. Me too.
To see that, to dance amidst the time. To have
To see where reality becomes and unbecomes reality.
I'm trying to set aside my absolute rage in Watts' direction at the moment. Distract myself with something else. It'll be great.
I'm simply fascinated by the possibilities, to see what was, what could be, and what is.
Why don't I show you something from the past, and then a future that is not cemented, but is fairly likely. Not your own futures, of course, that can end poorly. But futures that you might be adjacent to and involved with if you make the right choices. So she has her hands, palms up, waiting for Vern and Isabel to take a hand each and then hold hands with Charisse.
Isabel
I'll do that.
Does it.
It's on one hand, my concept is repressed occultist. On the other, one of my convictions is something. I can't read my handwriting. Something about all knowledge is worth pursuing, and she's like, okay.
Isabel's just sort of curious.
Just a moment. I just need to roll here to see how far into the timeline she takes you all.
I think the other two of you, if you're paying attention, notice Charisse is now giddy with excitement and curiosity instead of terror and fear. Uh-oh.
So far she's doing fine.
So once you've all linked hands together and the circuit is complete, there's this. You feel it in the blood, and you feel it in the beast when her power rolls over you. And normally when another kindred's beast reaches out like this, a natural response of your own beast is to start snarling back, because the kindred are apex predators and they don't like being made beta. but all three of your beasts just sit. As your blood starts to warm in your veins. Like, your blood hasn't felt this warm since you were all alive. You get a sensation like this shortly after you fed deeply, but it's been a while since you felt this much warmth generated within your own bodies. And your eyes are snapped shut, and you feel this soft breeze blowing through your hair. And then your eyes are snapped open to the sound of clanging metal. And you find yourselves upon this windswept field, and there are bodies on top of bodies. There is armor, and there are figures clashing with sword and halberd and claw as you watch kindred and changing breeds engaged in battle on these hills. One of which is this massive wolf man-like creature. Its fur is black and oily. Its ears look almost bat-like. Its eyes glow green with fire. Its drool falls and hisses on the ground. It is dressed in a breastplate and gauntlets and greaves covered in spikes. And it's only at a second look that you realize that that's not armor, it's chitin that is part of its body. And it is battling against this kindred who emanates power. And in an instant, you are aware that the kindred you're seeing here is Mithras, the Ventru of Ventru, battling against some unnatural monster. And all you see about you are kindred turning to dust and ghouls fallen. And again, these horrible creatures that are either turning into the forms of rancid wolves or wart-covered men, or are just beginning to dissolve into these pools of black ichor and oil. There's a reason people believe in Mithras as a powerful figure. He's the reason.
Does this look like a battle in the past?
Oh, it's in the past.
Oh, okay.
This is well and truly in the past.
I can see why. If this is the kind of thing he was keeping, if he was keeping kindred safe from, then I can't imagine any. What else could fight that thing?
Oh, proper werewolves. They had been doing so for millennia. It just so happens that Mithras wanted this patch of land, and, well, they were there. So, bit of greed on his part.
Oh, so he's the aggressor here.
I mean, they're both aggressors? Mithras is greedy and selfish. The other are... Yeah, evil's really the best way to put them. I would explain further, but your sensibilities would be greatly offended by understanding what a spiral is. I know the best way to explain it that you will understand without offending you too much. There is a clan of kindred that is not really named. The boogeyman of the kindred. They're basically the werewolf answer to them. Unfortunately, my brain has now gone and forgotten the name of the actual clan of kindred that are expressly evil.
The
Bali.
Bali, thank you, for fuck's sake.
It is not clear if they are actually. It is still not clear if they are a clan, a salubri bloodline, or something else.
The Bali are very real in this continuity, but until I get official stats on them, I'm either not going to run them or I'm going to have to homebrew them, but they're not important to this narrative. But you are aware of the Bali as the boogeymen of the kindred, alongside hunters and werewolves.
Yes, I've heard the name a few times, only spoken in whispers and fear.
That's because we kindred are monsters, but the Bali are evil. And so are spirals. And they all stem from the same source, so that explains that.
Do you think it might be related to those lizard people that we encountered earlier?
Oh, no. They're just the precursor civilization and they want the world back.
Older than I point at Mithras.
Oh, child, the serpent men predate Cain.
Huh. Well, I'm glad that hopefully that threat is dealt with for now.
They're not going to be your problem in the future. Well, they're not. You might encounter the Naga. Those are were serpents, but they're not the same thing.
I'm sure that the difference will be evident, hopefully.
Well, one hates you because you're kindred. The other one hates you because you just look human.
Ironic. Maybe not ironic.
But now let's show you something a little bit more into the future. Something you might find a little bit more appealing. And then in a moment, everything goes dark. And you are brought back to your senses by the sound of raucous cheers and laughter and stories. And you all find yourself standing in this garden in front of this large mansion. And there are people singing and dancing and clacking together mugs. And there are figures that are causing fire and lightning to dance from their fingers. And there are kindred wrestling with changing breeds just for the sake of expressing physical contest with each other. No violence or malice. And you can hear snippets of conversation as you come through, all in various different accents. You hear some that you denote as being from the Americas. You hear some that are clearly Italian, French, British, and they're all talking about this great battle and this success. And there are figures that are hanging from these topiaries and from these giant metal gates, and just anything they can climb up to stick out their cups so that they can be heard above everyone else. To the dark courts of London! To the dark courts of London, they cheer. To the chorus of the beasts! To the chorus of the beasts, sing others. There are kindred that hiss and howl. There are changing breeds that howl and roar alongside, and you feel your own beasts react to it as well. This hunting party cry. And you've never felt your beasts, like your beasts are even confused by this, but there's an energy that passes between them all, a unified desire. And your beasts are like, no, that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make, but I want in. Why do I want in? And again, you hear individuals talking about how they took down those hunters, and once they freed the Primogen Council, they began to tear through them left and right. And once we set the spiders free, the spiders landed upon them in a swarm. And as one is commenting on this, you watch as a swarm of spiders begins to gather behind them and build up and build up and build up, slowly forming into legs and torso and arms and head. And as all of the last traces of individual spider fade away into a humanoid visage, they lean forward and goes, and they were delicious. But you'd know that, wouldn't you? I would be one of the few here who understands like you, not like the other changing breeds would get it. There's a reason kindred are easier for us to work with. To the blood of our enemies. The blood of our enemies! This is one future that can come to pass. a little less likely to be fair, but it's the one I have the highest hope in. When the worlds of darkness stand together, cheering and laughing like one. I like to visit this one often. I'm afraid that it won't come to pass and it'll break my heart when it doesn't, but I keep trying to nudge things along when I can to make sure the right people are where they belong. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. I'm sure someone will stop me, but I have hope this is the way things are supposed to be.
Where the darkness stands together and pushes out the light.
No. When the darkness stands together to protect the light. The darkness, as some of us believe, is not so much the tool of the predator, but the shield of those who cannot defend themselves. Many kindred have lost that way, though there are those who still believe, and those who would guide things to a point when all remember, or at least take on a variation of that belief. To watch Gangrel and Werewolf and Bruja and Were-Dragon standing together on the battlefields while mages rain lightning from the heavens. To abolish the things that corrupt and taint and ruin and rape, be they mortal or otherwise. I like this future, and I like the ones adjacent to it, so I try to nudge them as close to this as I can. And if Boston now happens to nudge a little bit closer to that because you three know, well, all the better.
Fascinating.
There is a call for attention as everyone begins turning to watch as several people are stepping up onto this balcony to begin addressing the gathered throngs, but it is this point that you are all drawn back into the warehouse. That's enough spoilers for one evening. Well, potential spoilers. As I said, things won't necessarily go the way I want, but I'll keep trying. Like I said, you might wind up in the courts of London at the time to be involved. Your presences would not necessarily be required, but it couldn't hurt. And if Boston were to join the Alliance, it wouldn't exactly be a terrible thing.
Well, given the opponents we've already had to face in Boston, I would prefer more allies than less.
Indeed.
If you wish to understand where things can start going your way, an open mind, and again, when a Malkavian comes to you seeking aid, heed them. They're probably being nudged that way by me or another. And while they might not be directly involved in the things we would like to see, you helping them knocks the dominoes.
And it is for the sorry.
In more courtier terms, favors are returned.
They are.
Favors are returned. It is from the, after all, it is from a mutually beneficial arrangement that it's the same reason that those three work together in Boston rather than opposed, because the three powerful people found there was more to gain working together than there was to gain by conquering than to gain by conquest or by deposition.
True, but unfortunately not everyone sees it that way.
that, well, I do not have the abilities of Mama Leone. Every Malkavian has a sense that reality is what we make of it. There are some unfortunate side effects to that point of view and lifestyle at times, but in the long run, we think of things that the other kindred simply do not think of, and in a tight squeeze, those can prove invaluable at the strangest times. And well, I mean, I've heard rumors of Gangrel and Nosferatu having relations with shifting breeds, but I've only heard rumors. I've never seen any of it firsthand. I would not be
pulling your thumbs.
Shit.
I don't know what you're talking about, Vern says, nonchalantly smiling.
Were rats? What? Nah. But
I know nothing. Nothing.
I don't play poker with werewolves on Thursday night. The hell's wrong with you?
I would
Why would you even suggest such a thing? I didn't say anything.
I would not be surprised if a certain number of Malkavians, even without any knowledge of what we've just seen, might think, well, these are the least likely allies we could ever make, therefore this is the best option. That's what we do. We think outside of the box because we know the box is in itself an illusion.
It's also riddled with holes.
It's far more malleable than many people realize.
Like tofu or Canton. Oh, right. That hasn't become widely available for people in the West yet. Don't worry about it. It'll become a big health food craze and sweet craze later on. You'll be exposed to it.
It's food. Oh, right. Well,
I would not have clocked that based on those words.
Spend more time in the Far East and you'll come across them now.
I don't know that our journey is going that far, but we'll see.
Oh, that depends on how much traveling you three feel like doing.
Hey, why not?
Oh,
Let's
thank you.
say there's some good times to be had in the courts of Shanghai and Tokyo. Hong Kong is also fun if you're there in the right decade. But yes, time is growing short. We've been dancing through the timeline for quite a bit, so you should probably hurry along to get aboard your ship that will be departing tomorrow morning.
Yes, thank you for these insights, Mama Leone.
Thank you.
Of course, child. Like I said, just be kind to those who come to you seeking aid. I'm trying very hard to set up the right dominoes, and I want them all to fall in the correct order. Or at least close enough to. But, shh, don't tell anyone. It'll ruin the surprise.
And they'll think, and Charisse looks at Vern and Isabel in particular, and they'll think you mad besides.
All depends on who Vern's talking to, then.
Try not to give information without getting something in return. I don't intend to give other people's information either.
Yes, I don't believe anybody. I don't believe anybody in the circles I operate in are going to take much stock in. Oh, I saw a wondrous future in which everybody links arms and sings glorious songs of victory and togetherness.
I mean, it's not a perfect future, but it's a step in the right direction.
I don't see any reason why not to try to get there, though.
Well, speaking of not quite perfect, I guess we're on to Paris.
enjoy your rest, and we'll be there sooner than you know.
Fantastic. All right. It's been lovely meeting you. And Sharice, as she gets up, will give another nice curtsy, though not as like terrified, deferent. This is more like actual respect.
I look forward to the potential futures when one or more of you come back.
And Sharice just starts shuffling out of the
Warehouse
club. Out of the impromptu nightclub.
The doors open as you approach, and you can already tell from the sky that you were in there a lot longer than you thought, and you've got maybe about an hour or so till dawn.
Uh-oh.
Looks like we need to get some shelter and sleep.
Scurry to the ship.
Get to our ship.
Right,
Indeed.
we got you. Follow this way.
Thank you.
And the two kindred who were not the ones manning the doors wind up escorting the three of you through the mazework of warehouses until you reach the less the shipping docks and more the proper transportation docks, if that makes sense. The slightly nicer part of the docks where people are actually going to wave people on luxury cruises or on actual ships for passage, rather than those that are, okay, we're bringing in goods that you can't get here in England because England's terrible for growing a lot of things. And for also exporting the handful of things that England is good at. So beer, gin. Yeah, that's really it.
Beer and gin.
You know, pasties changed.
About it.
You know, Cornish pasties did actually change my life in 2003. Just sadly, celiac means I can't eat them anymore.
Well, you
British
can have
cooking is good when it's done well.
Yes, it is. But they don't exactly export British cooking.
I wish they did.
Yeah.
It's the 20s. There's no way to transport food without it going bad.
And Cadbury eggs haven't been invented yet.
No, not yet. Sadly.
Tragic.
Though there is a Malkavian chocolatier who's trying to get it off the ground. The idea will eventually be bought by Cadbury, but there is a Malkavian chocolatier trying to get it done. He's in Switzerland right now.
Hell yeah.
It would be Switzerland. What? All right, so it's 1 minute till break.
Yep.
So do you want to see us off that? Do you want to stop here or see us off on the ship, and then we'll reconvene when something weird happens?
I mean, the long story is at this point you're escorted onto the ship and into the rooms upon which you are laid in your vessels of transportation, because you will be landing while it is still daylight, and to continue your travels you will be picked up and carried as a continuation of our wonderful service of tending to our lovely guests. So yes, you are handed off to very attendant ghouls who sequester you away and send you on your merry. So yes, we're at an excellent point actually for us to take break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was excellent timing. Wasn't even trying that.
All right.
Well done.
So we are gonna go on break for 10 minutes.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, we haven't really had to do many rolls, but one thing I forgot to say at the beginning is we don't do things via cash, so you can buy stuff for the players and the GM using channel points. So do that. It's all in the... Oh, wait, did I update the channel points thing?
I didn't check.
Yeah, or rather, I forgot to unupdate it during the video game stream, so it's all still the same as it was on last Tuesday. Okay, yeah, thanks, Lee. Thanks, forgetful me. Anyway, chat, we'll see you in 10 minutes. Hey, use channel points.
See you guys later.
Sorry, chat, we're a bit late from break, but we were nerd spiraling. Whoops, as nerds are wont to do. This is still Magic Fish Radio. We are still playing V5, Vampire the Masquerade, set in the roaring 1920s, where we just had prophetic tea with an elder Malkavian lady, and are now going to take a boat.
As you do.
Like you do, and we're about to get on a boat to Paris from London, which we survived London. So check one off our vampire bucket list.
We did good, guys.
We did not wake up Mithras. Go team. And none of us was blood hunted. Yay!
That's a success in my book.
Or flayed. Or...
Told you I could handle it.
Now that we're all like full, now that we're all optimistic, we're gonna go to Paris and get murdered. Woohoo!
I mean, it's possible. It all depends on who you piss off.
I'd like to piss off nobody, thank you. Oh, wait, no. I already said I'm here to piss off everybody. I'm just going to die, I guess.
So die.
Unless you win all the fights, the die could very well roll that way. We've all seen how my die tend to roll most of the time. I rolled really well once. To be fair, it was also on you, so...
Yeah, it was.
What we need to do is ghoul another dog so that the dice will always roll in our favor, because Twitch magic.
How do you feel about rats?
I mean, is it like a big rat? Is it
I
like
don't
a
know.
bunch of rats? Like, is it a swarm? We'll see. Anyway, chat.
It's a Paris rat.
We're gonna get back into vampire mode in a sec. Chat, remember, you can buy stuff to help us with our rolls. With channel points rather than cash, because no one has any money right now, and if you do, I want you to put it towards your own personal survival and health, please. Oh, thank you, Actual Dracus. You redeemed turn 1 bestial failure into a messy crit.
I don't think we have any of those. I'm kind of curious. We haven't needed any of them yet, but you know.
Okay, so since I did,
well, you guys haven't been using like a lot of your disciplines or a lot of the features that would require you to make the rouse checks.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm using, like, constant discipline. I am an auspics junkie.
Yes, but
Goodness
height
gracious.
senses doesn't require a rouse check.
Oh, okay. Just it
To do-
requires the hunger dice, but not the
Yeah.
res check. Okay.
Well, failing a rouse check gives you hunger die,
Okay. So,
which I just realized look like regular die with the black and white filter on.
Yeah.
Yay,
There you go.
vintage.
That's
It's
how you know
red.
what's up.
Vintage dice.
Oh.
We're all in black and white.
See, I've got my green and my purple. They actually look kind of distinctly different on the black and white.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've just been using the app.
but
Probably should be using like real dice.
Yeah. Aside from waking up in the morning, none of you have really been making the rouse checks that would cause you to potentially gain hunger die. So you having messy criticals have been a lot less likely.
Okay.
Aside from Charisse, who's been running heightened senses a lot that doesn't require a rouse check, the rest of you haven't really been using your disciplines, or at least
Yeah.
using disciplines that would require you to make potential rouse checks. And then again, because of the services that have been requested for you, even when you wake up, you are treated to a meal to keep your hunger die at 1.
See what happens when you save the city from prehistoric lizard men that aren't even shifters? Yay! We should do that more often. No, we shouldn't. Alright, so in the pool right now, players, we have 5 +1s, and that's +1 to a roll, so... Is that +1 success or +1 die?
+1 die.
+1 die. Because this time we're doing traditional White Wolf D10, where you roll a dice for every dot. We have 0 willpower in our additional willpower pool, which chat buy us willpower with channel points. And thanks to Dracus, we have one of those crit conversions. For the GM has 17 +1s in his pool.
Yeah, which I've yet to have a need to use, because on the opportunities when it's like, oh, I have failed, but buying one more die isn't really going to change anything here.
Meanwhile, you've been so excited about lore dumps that we've distracted you from trying to kill us.
That is true. That
I
is
can be fine with this.
No, I mean, no, that was totally an accident. We just like role playing. Yeah, well, I do.
again, it all depends on what's coming up. But again, I like the traditional style of World of Darkness play because I just love rolling fistfuls of dice.
Paul the Apostle.
Hmm?
Paul the Apostle, just random name.
No! Stop it!
So everyone else has climbed into their little carrier.
No, I
castle.
don't say that.
It just-
No, that was a joke.
I forgot I
That
was
was a
gonna
joke,
say to
Avi.
Mama Luna. Oh, tell Gilgamesh we say hi. If you have no idea what we're talking about, watch the last episode. Watch the previous episode, where Isabel just starts rapping random names of ancient beings, but we're in London and that has consequences. Especially
What are
when
you
you're
talking
a
about?
Vontrue. Whoops.
It had no consequences. Everything went fine.
I got to
Roll
talk
with-
to Gilgamesh. It was fun. No one
Roll-
else could see him.
You know what? Actually, I take that back. You wouldn't have to roll wits awareness here. Roll me willpower
Which one of us?
for Paul, for the one who called for Paul the Apostle.
That was a joke. I'm not actually saying that in character. This was a joke.
This is Owa, not Enwad.
You
where
keep
supposedly-
randomly calling
Hold on.
upon people. You're not going to have to worry about what's in Vienna.
It's like, well, there's no reason for us to actually go to Vienna now because Isabel's dead. So once we're done in Paris, we're just fucking off back home, right? Yep, that's cool.
I was still gonna go look for Watts, but
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah.
That's a joke. Obviously, I'm not actually going to just randomly say Paul the Apostle just out of nowhere. As much as I, out of character, want to very
Your
badly.
Malkavian friends are rubbing off on you. In interesting and unexpected ways. Woot. So yeah, buy us stuff with channel points, chat, because you can. And I've maximized the amount of channel points you get from watching our live streams. Sadly, you can't get them from watching our VODs.
Well,
Or if there is a way to do that, I haven't figured it out. So if you know of a way, join our Discord and tell me. In fact, just join our Discord anyway, because that's where all the announcements make more sense than other social medias. Discord! Alright, so we're on a boat, we're asleep on a boat to Paris. We
Yes.
think.
mhm.
Unless,
Us
you know,
vers-
Mama Leone just put us in a whole different reality stream and we didn't realize it. Because we were getting high on time travel in our brains and hashtag Malk life. And yeah.
You all wake up-
You
all wake up on the streets of
Sorry. Someone got that reference.
We wake up and it's Gehenna. Whoops. I slept too long!
I was singing the Science Gate theme song if anyone was curious.
Yep,
Oh, you
Yeah.
got it. Cool.
I did. I did.
Link it in the Discord later.
Mhm.
I am curious.
It's an anime that's about time travel in which you like there is much jumping of world lines. Also, the main theme slaps, and I'm going to post it right now.
So yes, you all climbed into your little cargo caskets and were carried along to the next leg of your journey. And you all come to in your little tight boxes surrounded by darkness. I need you all to please make me rouse checks,
Yep, which is just 100 die, right?
which is, well, it's just 1d10. You roll me the 1d10, and then we see if you succeed or fail.
Not only did I bestial failed, in fact.
Again, a rouse check. Oh dear.
Ah! No, you ruined my screen!
John, you moved.
You moved! No, it's okay.
My
Everyone
tech is.
moved! Damn it!
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
now,
Fixed.
so not wanting a rouse check doesn't do anything besides just give me hunger. Okay.
It gives you a hunger die. Yes, it's just 1d10 to roll here, and when you reach certain generations, you can roll multiple rouse die and take the better values. But at your generation, you can roll 1, and if it's a success, great, nothing bad happens. If it's a failure, you gain a hunger die. Certain disciplines require you to make rouse checks. If you succeed on the rouse check, you draw on the power of the beast without stirring it. If you fail the rouse check, you still use the discipline, but the beast is roused and you gain a hunger die. So that's all there is to that. It's the new hunger mechanic. But yes, all three of you failed, or just two of you?
I succeeded.
Succeeded.
Nice.
Oh.
For the first time in a long time.
So Vern, you wake up and you're like, dry mouth. Yeah. No, I think I decayed a little in my mouth while I was in torpor. And you climb out and you are fine. Isabel and Charisse, you both wake up with that gurgle in your tummy that is the beast growling for blood. Vern, when you wake up, you are greeted by a young woman with dark red hair that's cut to just below her ears. She's very pretty, very well put together. And she turns and she goes, "Oh, good evening, monsieur. Is there anything you require?" As she offers to help you up out of your little transport casket.
Except the help out of the casket. I don't think there's anything else I require, though.
You do not hunger, monsieur?
Not today. Or tonight. I should use proper terminology as a kindred, shouldn't I?
However you feel comfortable. By all means, then, if there is anything you require, please use the house phone, and then I will come to lend assistance, or someone will. And she bows to you and leaves the room. Charisse and Art and Isabel, both of you are treated to similar states. Either a very handsome man or a very lovely young woman is present, speaking with a thick French accent that is significantly better than the one I'm using, so you're all just going to have to deal with it. And of course, they offer they help you out of your caskets. They offer to assist you with anything you need. If you require to sip to bring down your hunger die, you are more than welcome to feed on them, unless you feel like going out for a hunt. Yes.
Yes, I am feeling a bit peckish. Thank you. I'm just going to erase that extra hunger dice off my counter. Thank you. Where are we?
You are in the Hotel de Fleur in downtown Paris.
Out of character question.
Yes.
Given our plans in Paris, how long are we planning? How long did we make our reservation for here?
Oh, you are staying in a Kindred-owned hotel.
Oh,
so
yeah, that I get, but how many nights or how many days? I don't know.
As long as you need.
Oh. So we haven't made our travel plans for Vienna yet.
I mean, to be fair, you didn't really make any of your travel plans, though here in Paris is the point where you reach the real dividing point. It's entirely possible that you can stay here doing what was your reward, and then Isabel and Vern can fuck off to Vienna, and you can just do your thing, and the two of them continue to go do the things they wanted to do. This is one of the points where, for the characters, should they choose to divide and conquer, they can. This is the assumption of the organization at this point. But if the three of you wish to stick together, your time here is not unlimited, but you've got a fairly sizable window to do whatever it is you want to do. Arrangements were made, and you basically have VIP access, though after a while, they're either going to ask if you're moving on or ask that you actually start paying. But it's unlikely to be, it's unlikely to take more than a month, until they would start requesting that you either continue on, if they're going to ask if you're going to continue on your journey, or if you're going to move to Paris, or if you're going to extend a vacation and therefore need to actually start putting money into the vacation. So you have 30 days in Paris if you want it.
I don't imagine we'll overstay our welcome.
I mean, so long as you pay, you're never overstaying your welcome. I'm sorry. So long as you pay and follow the rules, you're never overstaying your welcome. Because
You mean we can't just pay our way out of a mess we get into? Damn,
I mean,
what kind of game you running here?
it depends on the mess. If it's a small mess, yeah, maybe. If it's a big mess, you might have to start paying in heftier boons than you might be comfortable paying.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rules?
Well, Paris is a Camarilla city, so Camarilla rules apply. Uphold the masquerade. Don't eat somebody that belongs to somebody of higher standing than you. You're all accustomed to Camarilla rules, and Paris is still a Camarilla city at this point.
And not a weird one like London is.
No, it's much less cultish here. Though Paris is home to one of the largest congregations of Nosferatu, which might sound a little weird because any major metropolitan area tends to have a very large population of Nosferatu, though no one really thinks about that. But Paris is home to one of the world's largest populations of Nosferatu.
There's a catacombs.
Yes. I think at this point in history, the only cities that have larger populations are, I think, are Rome and Montreal.
Well, Paris, by some standards, was the first major city in Europe.
Yeah.
Rome? Wait,
So,
besides Rome?
well, the first modern city.
Oh, modern. That makes sense. Sorry.
Modern, like post Dark Ages.
I mean,
Paris was the first city in Europe.
When they did the whole like city planning thing, like when they rebuilt the whole city after the like 5 wars.
Yep.
Because France gets into so many wars. It's like during like the periods leading up to and including this.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Yup. Well, it's nice, so people keep fighting over it and trying to conquer it, and then they're like, fuck you, we're gonna conquer ourselves, and then try to conquer Italy, and it's just a whole thing. Everything I know about French history comes from the Borgias. Lol, JK.
Mine mostly comes from the Revolutions podcast. It's a very good podcast. That's my random plug. Listen to anything and everything made by what's the guy's name? The guy who makes Revolutions.
Put it in the Discord later. Put it in the shitposting Discord later.
So, you all come to
Mike Duncan.
2 of you feed, and the you get the impression that part of the reason this place is called the Hotel de Fleur is because there is a flower motif everywhere. The molding is all designed to be flowers leading in on long vines around. There are fresh flowers.
Is it all roses or is it all kinds of flowers?
It's all manner of flowers. It's very colorful. It's very well.
Charming.
Well, the Toreadors have basically been running a lot of the places you've been staying. I mean, part of getting into this whole enterprise is to force people to enter into their establishments for monetary purposes. Kindred travel. Kindred have a lot of money. Kindred pay the money. If they don't have money, but they still travel, they can offer boons, which can also be just as useful, if not more so.
Why wasn't I embrace Toreador? That's a good question.
Because you picked
character.
Okay, I played a Toreador who sounded an awful lot like a hybrid of a Venture and a Chemise.
There we are.
He was very business minded and very possessive. Heaven help you if you ever touched his daughters. He would tear your arms off and feed them to you.
Anyway, these Toreador with their fancy flowery hotel.
Yes.
And a hungry kitty, apparently.
No, he was just denied his resting spot.
I rolled a pet the kitty.
Vern should totally ghoul a cat just so we can make all the noises from John's feed.
Yes. Yes.
Not that
Also-
I'm complaining because the internet needs cats, but
Also, Vern should ghoul a cat. Also, I'm imagining like Vern. Okay, but what if Vern and Isabella both separately decide to ghoul cats and they're very, very different?
Meow?
I mean,
Meow. Oh,
it could work.
Kitty, it's a
Kitty is
Jetson.
very good.
it is okay.
It's a Jetson of the 3 legs.
Baby.
Hi, Jetson.
Hello, neurotic boy.
Does he know that I love him?
Oh, everyone loves Jetson. He knows it.
Oh.
He always gets all the love and attention. Him and Kit. He is growling because he doesn't like being held by Daddy right now, but that's all right.
I did not agree to be on the stream.
Exactly.
Papa? Papa? I did not consent to this. Papa, I did not sign the waiver. Papa? Papa?
Right. So,
So we get a
if
cat. First night in Paris, we get a cat.
that's an option. It's an option.
Actually, can you ghoul an animalism if you don't have animalism? Because some versions that's not a good idea.
Do have animalism though,
Oh,
so
okay. The idea in previous editions of Vampire was you're effectively putting your beast on top of an actual beast, and so if someone without animalism ghouls an animal, that animal goes into frenzy forever until you put it down.
Oh, okay, so that's how that works.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still how it works though, because that was really a downer.
There is an animalism power that basically gives you a hellhound and allows you to commune with animals. But I don't recall anything in the system telling you that you cannot ghoul an animal. You just won't necessarily have the same degree of control. Like, so long as the animal is at least slightly trained, it'll, obey the sit, heal, attack. But animalism allows you to exert a greater degree of control. So, as I don't recall any rules saying that you can't ghoul animals without having animalism, if Charisse wants to, she can. And Vern can absolutely do so.
there will be a cat, hopefully next week.
I mean, if you ask, there can be a cat this week.
Yeah, I don't know how that works in terms of character sheets and stats and stuff.
Yeah, and you might have to buy guns with that XP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cats, guns.
I don't know. I want to choose cats, but I was advised to choose guns.
What if it's a cat with a gun?
Now you're talking.
I was going to say, guns mounted on cats. Oh, Jetson doesn't like that idea at
Cats
all.
with guns.
Aw.
Oh, it's my little meow.
Papa?
We just need to play that one GURP setting with gun-toting environmentalist cat girls.
Papa, I boycott the stream. Papa?
Come on, you all know you want to hire some meowcenaries.
Meow scenarios.
I'm referring to like, I think it's called Reign of Steel. That like
Team
there's a bunch of evil AIs. One of them is very environmentalist and has created a species of cat people. So there is in fact gun-toting environmentalist cat girls that work for an insane evil AI. Because that's how GURPS is apparently.
Not sure about the AI, but there is teams. There are cat shifters in OWAD.
I know that.
That's
Hashtag Team Silicon.
right. So
OTP splat.
I like the spiders. They're very creepy.
you all managed to feed your needs and see that all of your bags have been unpacked and stowed away in various drawers and closets.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You are all free to do about your rooms as you see fit. The night is yours. What do you do?
Do I have who is the person I need to contact about my tomes?
Gallison Toussaint.
I feel like I wrote that down somewhere. I'm gonna write it down again.
Holy rounds Toussaint.
It will be in the Discord chat if you want the spelling.
Mm-hmm.
Toussiant, right? No, not I. No, just Never mind, I don't remember how to spell
It's
it.
French. I'm not even going to try to make a guess.
Toussaint.
A-I-N-T. I was close.
Toussaint.
Toussaint. Galveston.
Gerson Toussaint. Okay.
Was I given a phone number or just? Oh, we should present ourselves. I think first she's gonna touch base with her traveling companions. I think first.
Hello?
Hello. We should absolutely present ourselves to the local prince, so that they know we're not here to cause trouble. At least not intentionally.
Yes, of course.
As long as none of us feeds off of a blonde with green eyes.
Wasn't planning on it.
Wasn't planning on it either, though. I appreciate the warning.
That was Mama Leone's warning.
Yes, I appreciate Mama Leone's warning.
As she looks up, she flips through. Yes, 6'3", blonde. Okay.
If it's someone who's very handsome, who I immediately want to stick my teeth into, it's probably somebody's ghoul. I'll keep that in mind.
That would be my assumption. Unless, well, we'll burn that bridge if we come to it. But yes, most likely.
Well, unless they are another vampire, in which case that's a worse crime. So let's not do that. Either a worse crime, or I'm making myself blood bonded. I think I've had quite enough of working for other people these days. I say, glancing like meaningfully at the player who's not here.
Looking up into the sky at where the Zeppelin is.
Yes.
All right. So.
Yes. Right now, one moment.
All right. So
He's very happy when he comes back.
So I think we should. I guess call the front desk and ask for information on how to present ourselves.
Probably will be as involved as it was in London.
I don't. The Prince of Paris is a Toreador, correct?
Yes.
I mean, so long as you uphold their standards of beauty and pleasure, as long as you uphold you respect their standards of and need for beauty, they're rather. I mean, many will very fervently defend what is theirs, but we are not here to threaten anyone's holdings or property.
Of course not.
So we are just visiting Americans, I suppose. I suppose I am an American now. Never quite worked out the paperwork on that. Oh well.
Welcome to the new country, I guess.
What are they gonna do about it?
Deportation would be rather complicated for us.
And, well, you just wait one human lifetime and come back.
More or less. With better paperwork, indeed.
If you even wait that long.
Of
To be
course,
fair, I don't
I'm my
think
own daughter.
Yes, I spent some time in Paris, and then I settled down and had a family, and now I'm me again, and I'm going back home.
All right, so yes, I suppose we should call the desk and ask for.
So it's not like it's not like it's like hard to like. It's not like they have some kind of like contraption that can like tell if your like identification papers are incorrect yet. That's ridiculous. It is probably much easier to forge an ID in 1920 than it is in 2020.
Yeah, significantly so.
All right.
Kindred laments the modern security degree.
So yes, I call the front desk and ask for. Well, actually, is this an entirely closed, Kindred-only hotel? should be careful who I ask.
You don't know, but since you imagine that this, much like the previous hotel, is going to be Toreador owned, you imagine everyone working the front desk is probably a ghoul?
And if I could probably tell if they're not, because I am addicted to Auspex.
If you want to go down over the phone, it's a little harder to use Auspex to identify a ghoul.
Yes.
Addiction implies there's a problem. You're doing very well at it.
6 of one, half dozen of another. Anyway,
She's a functioning addict of Auspex.
high
She is-
functioning Malkavian. What we all Malkavians aspire to be high functioning, indeed. Hashtag ADHD life. Alright, so. Alright, I suppose I shall go down to the desk.
Mhm.
I suppose we can all go and just ask.
As you enter into the hallways and head down towards the stair, you find at the end of the hallway are elevators to go down, and there is also a large staircase that wraps around the elevator shaft as it goes down the floors.
Ooh,
Interesting.
lovely. A
Um,
nice place.
Very fancy.
and again, there are tables set with flowers, and there's heavy flower motifs in the engraving of the moldings. There are portraits of gardens and open fieldscapes everywhere.
So it's like being on the London docks, but the complete opposite sensation of now I'm being overwhelmed by perfume and essential oils.
You know what? It's really not that bad.
Oh.
You're definitely getting the aromas, but
Toreador also have Auspex in this version, yes.
I mean, they have it in V20 too.
Well, no, I'm used to having to play a Deva, which is Toreador with the Brujah disciplines, and they took away my damn Auspex.
Yeah,
I was
bastard.
the saddest Deva. Anyway. Yes, so.
Yeah, but
Lovely.
it's not offensive.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be. It's a Toreador-run establishment.
Well, I mean, it's not offensive to those with Auspex, who may tend to have Auspex running all the time.
Perhaps for different reasons than me, but to each their own.
As you're walking down the hallway, you all see the numbers on the hotel doors and realize that you are all on the 12th floor. So it's your choice if you want to take the elevator down or if you want to take the stairs.
Are there many elevators in Boston?
I mean, there's a couple in some of the higher end establishments at this point, maybe a couple of freight elevators in some warehouses and department stores.
I would like to take the elevator and see what it does.
Me
Okay.
too.
Exciting! In 1920 something, we're taking an elevator.
When the three of you step into the elevator and there is a bellhop there with control of a lever, and there's a nice warm carpet in here, and again very colorfully decorated.
And here I am wearing my Victorian style morning dress in all black.
Bonsoir. Et which floor?
The first floor, I believe. We'd like to go to the desk.
Okay. And he squeezes and he pulls the lever down to lobby, and you are descending. Every so often you can see through the gate like the hallway leading to units ahead of you, and the hallways all look fairly similar as you descend until you reach the lobby level when the gated door is slid open, and again you enter into this. It's not quite ostentatious, but it is very lavish. And there is
Tastefully lavish.
and there's
artistically lavish.
And there's a lot more plants down here. There's a lot more flowers and indoor topiaries, and there's at least one. Well, not at least one. There's several topiaries carved to look like animals, but they specifically have flowers in the place where I should be.
That's cute.
So there's an elephant there that has like two giant orchids where its eyes should be. There's another one of a horse which is growing two white roses where its eyes should be, and similar products. It's in this very large lobby where a bunch of people are interacting. And let's see, what would you be using to identify all that? That wouldn't be sense the unseen. That would be.
Are there Gould plants?
Oh no, you specifically wanted to see people. I just don't remember what they call it now. Whether ghoul or any other. It's Scry the Soul. Okay, that's what it was. Which is a 3rd level Auspex ability.
I forgot to bring up my book
Mm-hmm.
on PDF.
Scry the Soul. By focusing on a person, the vampire can perceive the state of that person's psyche as a shifting aura of colors. This one requires a rouse check. When the storyteller truthfully answers a number of questions equal to the margin of the roll about the target and the psyche. Interesting. Because we've not actually used this ability before. So I had to take a moment to look.
Or if we have, it hasn't been for a while.
Yep.
Actually, sense the unseen. Whenever there's something supernatural hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, that's more for, like, sort of really opposing, like, obfuscate.
Okay.
Or for someone who's, like, hiding, like, round a corner or something like that. That's not going to quite as easily identify to you as, oh, this person's a ghoul. Oh, this person's a kindred that's hiding it, like, really, really well because of blush of life or makeup or very high levels of protean.
Because ironically, if they're a vampire, I just have to use heightened senses and hear, oh, you don't have a heartbeat. Or it's much, much slower than it should be.
Yeah.
But that's not a side effect for ghouls, as far as I am aware.
No, it is not. Well, maybe for older ghouls, but... So, if you're going to scry the soul, I need you to make a rouse check.
So that's roll the 1 hunger die? Or
just
roll...
10. Just roll it, and it's success or failure. That's all it is.
It's a 5, so that is a fail.
So when you go to scry the soul, stepping up to the front desk, you feel that stirring growl from your beast inside. It's like, oh, and I just fed.
Do you remember what I said about what my beast might sound like? Given that I had a surprising few triggers thus far in game?
No, I honestly don't, and I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
I do not. If you would care to remind me.
Well, it's a surprise.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I genuinely don't. So rarely do you trigger your beast at a point when it would be narratively appropriate to express what it sounds like.
All right, let's just say her beast purrs. But yeah, it's there.
Yep.
Meow.
So I need you to make an intelligence auspex check versus their composure subterfuge, which I have already rolled. And the margin difference will dictate how many things you learn.
Okay, what was it? Intelligence and what?
Auspex.
Intelligence and auspex. Do I still need to add a hunger die, or was that the rouse check?
You now have 2 hunger die,
oh, damn it.
which replace 2 die in your pool.
Okay. Oh, shit.
What happened?
I got 3 10s.
Okay.
That's 6, 7, 8 successes on 7 dice.
Okay. That was 8 successes, you said?
I have to count again. 8 successes, yes.
Okay. And they rolled 3, so you gain 5 bits of information pertaining to the person you're talking about. Because that's how Scry the Soul works.
So
here.
what happens is she fails her rouse check, and a little voice in the back of her head says, I think you can do better than that. And she is...
Why is your beast sexy? What's that about?
Why indeed?
Well,
so almost
maybe you'll
against her
find
will, Charisse does really, really well at suddenly scrying and seeing things maybe she wouldn't have wanted to see otherwise.
Okay, so on a win, the storyteller truthfully answers a number of questions equal to the margin of the roll. Yeah, Giselle is picking fights with Kitten. So, you can ask me 5 questions about the person you're speaking to. I assume the first of which is whether they are a vampire, werewolf, ghoul, etc. And incident, or I will rewrite this to a point to go, if you just want the information about multiple individuals, and you can get it for up to 5 individuals as you scry the soul instead, and if there's not a particular bit of information you want to take off of a single target, because it didn't sound like you really wanted any information beyond, are they a ghoul?
Well, Charisse didn't.
Okay.
Someone else just woke up a little bit.
Okay.
So she might have more questions. Well, what Charisse wants to know is, who on staff is the ghoul that is meant to talk to the vampires?
Okay.
Who is the vampire interface of this staff?
As you head towards the front desk, and then over to the side is the concierge. You read ghoul on all of them.
Oh. All right.
And on the bellhops that are attending, whether they be to mortal or kindred needs, they all read ghoul. It looks like the entire hotel staff, at least right now, is all ghoul.
Okay. Are we the only customers?
Oh no, there's a mix of kindred and mortal present in the lobby right now.
Okay. Actually, since I made 8 damn successes, are there any ghouled or magicked plants? Just curious. Like, if it's just Toreador has skills, that's cool. But, you never know when there's one of those wonky Tremere or a Kuldonic sorcerer running around being all planty.
Yeah, gold plants are not really a thing in V5 or in any of the other. I think it's really only in NWAD when gold plants became a thing.
There are, I believe there are Tremere Tremere paths or thaumaturgy paths that are like planty, but I'm not getting that vibe here. But I forget because I've never played a Tremere, so I don't know.
If they are, they're not ones I'm familiar with.
Okay. So the topiaries are not magical.
No, the topiaries are not magical. The topiaries are very much just plant. But yes, there is a great many ghouls present down here for you to speak to if you so wish.
All right.
There are, I guess the one thing that you might also notice as you're looking around, taking in here, and this is something that Isabel would probably also notice too, Vern, I assume, is going to run obfuscate or go, or someone's going to warn Vern that there are mortals down here and tell him that he needs to do something about himself.
I'll obfuscate.
Okay.
So can I hold? So I've basically gotten 3 answers. Can I hold on those 5 extra successes until I think of something? Therefore, within the scope of this conversation.
2 more, because it was the margin of difference between your successes and mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2 more. That's fine. All right. So yeah, Charisse will still, approach the concierge desk now that she sees they're all ghouls. So if they don't have the information for her, they'll probably refer someone to talk to her.
Are you using Cloak of Shadows, Vern, or Unseen Passage?
Unseen Passage.
Then I need you to make me a rouse check, please.
Okay. That's a fail.
So you now also have your beast growling a little more. It's like, maybe I should have snacked before. A little overindulgence.
You hear your beast and it says, meow!
Just a whiny house cat. Yes, that was a shot at you. Yes, you're walking up to the one open. Let's see, which one of them would be open at this point? You would be dealing with. Excellent. You approach a young man, looks to be in maybe his mid to late 20s. Dark brown hair, slicked back, very, very nice, very deep brown eyes, solid cheekbones. And he is currently filling out something in a ledger after handing keys to someone who had just come in, and he sees you approach. Et oui, madame.
Yeah, and she's speaking very quietly. If other kindred here, she doesn't mind. There's mortals here. She's trying to keep it. My companions and I are newly arrived to the city this evening. We would like to speak to someone who can tell us how best to present ourselves to local society in the proper manner.
Pardon. Presenting oneself to the prince of the city has very distinct meanings in the English use of the word.
Do I speak French? I'm not sure I speak French.
Prince Villon.
Oh, I do speak French.
Oh. So you could be having this conversation in French.
Oh, goodness. I was not aware. Again, this is my first time in Paris.
Oui, Prince Villon is... he is very toreador. And you and your associate there are very pretty.
So we're just announcing our presence as visitors. Then who do we talk to? Is it a primogen or?
The primogen, I do not believe, has an issue with your presence, as you are, to my understanding. At least I believe you are Madame Lowell, correct?
Yes, that is my name.
Then, yes. There is no need for you to do so. We do not stand on such heavy ceremony here.
All right. We came via Zeppelin and passed through London, so we're a bit on edge.
London is
different than
it's
Paris.
Uptight. It's
uptight.
It's
yes.
much more relaxed. If you were going to be here for an extended period of time or wish to do anything with the prince in a business protraction or personal, I don't judge, then you would need to meet with them or with the primogens of your respective clans. But otherwise, no. So long as you adhere to the rules of the masquerade, you should be fine. However, Monsieur Toussaint will be expecting you in his office.
Oh, is this his hotel?
Oh, oui.
Oh,
well, one of them.
Somehow I missed it. Like I said, London was very stressful. I am very much looking forward to enjoying respite in Paris. And
we hope to provide you all of the amenities you require.
Looking forward to speaking to Monsieur Toussaint.
If you step into the lift, Monsieur Toussaint's office and residence are on the top floor.
Oh, all right. Is he expecting me?
Oui.
Oh, sorry. Like I said, it's been a while. I haven't had much reason to speak very much French lately, of being in Boston.
Not at all. If you require any need to work on and remembering your French, we can always have someone come and assist you with this in your room later.
Oh, that might be nice. All right. All right. Let me just confer with my companion.
Do you have a preference? Male, female, multiple, singular?
And that purr in the back of her mind is like, just one single female. That would be fine.
Excellent. Are there any specific physical preferences that you would like us to explore? Or would you just like us to...
Isabel's eyebrow is very raised.
I am a bit peckish, but no, I don't have any strong physical preferences for. She just sort of like, zzz, zzz. All right, I'll cool down. And she walks over to Isabel. All right, so apparently Paris is far more relaxed, and we don't have to present ourselves to the prince, but I get the distinct impression that the authorities know we're here, and as long as we don't do anything stupid or step out of line, they won't bother us.
Oh, don't worry.
So,
I'm not going to do anything stupid.
of course, and I somehow missed the point that Monsieur Toussaint, actually, who I'm supposed to talk to, actually owns and lives in this hotel, so I'm about to go up to see him.
Well, that's very convenient.
Yes.
Would you prefer to go alone or with us?
I think I'll be alright to go on my own.
Very well. Just it's your business, so I wasn't sure whether you wanted a backup or I understand.
I don't... Like I said, the authorities know we're here. If anything untoward were to happen to me, that might get a little awkward. But I don't think...
I don't think
anything untoward's about to happen. I think if something to that effect were in the cards, so to speak, I think I would have had a warning already. From one of a number of sources we've already spoken to. So, I'll be quite alright.
Yes. Yes, you seem very, very adept. Honestly, if any of us is going to notice the danger, it's probably the one who's constantly looking for it.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm always looking for danger. Well, not always looking for danger, but I'm definitely, keeping my eyes open. Well, I don't expect the unexpected. I just try not to expect anything. Alright. I'm going to go talk to Monsieur Toussaint, and I start heading for the lift.
Mm-hmm. What would Vern and Isabel like to do at this moment?
Right.
Probably also head for the lift myself, because I don't like hanging out in areas where I have to be obfuscated in order to exist.
Come on, Vern. This is
Hashtag
Paris. Surely there's something we could do in Paris.
You're just gonna get lightly punched in the shoulder, and we can figure that out later, but not here in this room.
All right.
Head back up, call room service.
All right. Yeah, because I'm just trying to think of because Isabel definitely wants to have some fun while she's in Paris and perhaps meet a few people. But I'm trying to think of what exactly she would do here that would be helpful, because I'm spacing out right now for some reason.
Well, think about that, and we'll move on to Sharice's bit. As it is, that might eat up what's left of our time anyway, so you'll have a week
that's fine.
about it, most likely. So you step into the lift, and you mentioned you wish to go to Toussaint's office, so you right away, madame.
Merci.
Lever, closes the door, pulls the lever, and up you ascend. And the doors open on the floor just above where you started, the 13th. 13th floor.
It has a 13th floor?
Yes. It's the floor no one but the owner would stay on. Don't worry, eventually more floors will be added here, and he'll just keep the 13th as his own, because no one wants to stay on the 13th floor, and it just bothers him that he has to go from 12th to 14th. No, there's a number there. I'll keep it.
This baseless superstition, how dare.
Well, 13's always been a lucky number for Garrison. But you are brought into a large waiting area that's almost as lavish as the actual lobby of the hotel itself. There's, instead of having two fountains going off, there's just one. And there are two topiaries flanking it, but they're much smaller to fit with the slightly lower roof. And there are, again, several sets of fresh flowers, and there are paintings of fields and gardens. And It's everything's done in like soft and welcoming earth tones.
And here
down,
I still am in my stark black morning attire. Like a little black hole or a piece of coal.
and down at the end of this waiting area, where again there are all sorts of chairs and benches for people to sit and talk, and there are carts on wheels that contain various glass decanters of things. There are 2 desks on either side of this large set of double doors. Behind one is one man and a woman, and behind another is another man and a woman, and both are and all 4 of them rather are working telephones and typing into typewriters or into what look almost like telegraph machines. And the 4 of them are just working quite feverishly as you step off the lift and the door closes and the attendant goes back down. As you are standing around taking this in, another voice comes in from just off to your left. Oui, madame, how may we be of service? And as you turn, you are greeted by a Nosferatu in a very tight, form-fitting tux. Like the sort that you can really only carry when you're a very specific body type and still look good.
Skinny jeans 100 years early.
Yes. But again, skinny jeans only look good on certain people. And this guy looked, well, saying he looks good is a bit of something. It's like, so long as you notice him from the neck down, he looks good.
You said Nosferatu pretty plainly. It's like, oh, I'm here to see Monsieur Toussaint. My name is Charisse Lowell.
Let's this way, madame.
Thank you.
And he leads you down along this walkway. As you approach the 4 ghouls that are working, he nods briefly to them, and all 4 of them nod back as they continue speaking. It's at this point, as you get close, you realize that the 4 of them are speaking different languages into the telephones. One is speaking French, another is speaking German, one is speaking Italian, and the 4th is speaking Spanish. He opens up the double doors, and you are led into an office with bookcases all the way around and tons of well-used leather-bound tomes. And since I assume your auspex is up, you're immediately hit by that smell of old paper and ink and leather. There's a large globe. One section of the wall actually has this very elaborate bar set up. And there is a figure sitting behind a desk who gets up as you enter. He is really sort of the best way to describe him is the French male positive stereotype. As in, he's so handsome, he's almost pretty. But he has just the right amount of broadness in his shoulders to fit his frame. Like, he's almost perfectly sculpted to look like an idealized version of man, if that makes sense. I really can't think of a better way to describe him. He's very Toreador. He's very French Toreador. I think that really is probably the best way. He just sort of exudes that casual sexuality and has the look to just he catches you without having to throw on presence.
And Charisse is already a bit flustered from downstairs, so she's just a little English mouse.
Yep. Thank you, Anton. You do not need to stick around for this. We can discuss this. We can speak later. Oui, monsieur. And he closes the door and steps out. Madame Lowell. And he steps to you with arms spread. Welcome, welcome. I've been expecting you for some time now. And he steps up and he places his hands on your shoulder and he leans in to give you a kiss on each cheek. Very, very European, very French.
I'm wondering if this counts as a trigger. She's
I mean,
kind of stiffens up where she's just like, what?
I mean, he's not being overtly sexual in this. He's being very casually French. Like this is just a way that he would greet people in an affectionate manner. So I don't. I guess that would really depend on whether or not you understand that this is not meant to be a sexual confrontation.
Yeah, I think she's uncomfortable, but her derangement is not triggered.
Oh,
so she's a little like, oh, bonsoir.
My apologies. I'm sorry. I did not mean to make you uncomfortable.
Oh,
It just it's how we greet here.
I've never been to Paris before.
No, it's not.
I unfortunately am a child of a long an almost forgotten age. Not even that forgotten, but very much out of fashion.
Please, right ways, and he tries to take your hand and place a hand on your back and guide you to a seat.
She's okay.
Yeah. He makes a point that the hand is high on your back to avoid miscommunication. And he guides you over and helps you sit down in this large, tall backed leather seat that's very good back support. And he steps around and he goes, apologies, you arrived a little bit earlier than I had originally anticipated. So I'm afraid my associates have not quite arrived with the tomes that you might be interested in. Though they do have a couple that may have piqued your interest. I was not given a very great bit of information as to what it was you were actually looking for.
Out of character, the prince told me, I know a guy who has some books you want to read, but he didn't. Did he actually tell me what they were about, aside from like magic, in a general sense?
No. Because Quentin doesn't know much about magic in general.
To be perfectly frank, Prince King was not altogether specific about what these tomes are about, just that I would have interest in them.
I see. I see where the miscommunication may have originated. I have, through my dealings, made some quiet backdoor associations with a local mage tradition. And so the offer that a mutual acquaintance brought to my attention is that you, I believe, were interested in learning about magic as a general theory and concept, though we kindred are incapable of using this, what is the way to use the spheres of magic that mages do.
Yes, we, the powers of the blood are can be quite flexible when you know how to use them, but I understand they are not quite so flexible as what mages do.
Yes, if I remember correctly, it is because we lack an avatar. But I am not a specialist in magic. It's a very casual passing with allies I've made here and there.
Yes, I ended up assisting the prince in a matter of strange magics, so I think he may consider it in his interest to see that I am better educated in more kinds of magic, so I can further serve him and the safety of Boston.
All right. So, are you looking for an understanding of magical history or the destabilization of magical wards?
Well, what's on offer?
Well, I mean, theoretically, there's some tomes dealing with magical crafting in theory, which is a thing you might find interesting, but not a thing we can actually do.
There is that, but there's also power and knowledge what's being used in one's periphery or at oneself.
So I take it then you would be more interested in learning defenses against the works of mages.
If I can learn such things.
You can learn how to better guard your mind against their mental attacks. I mean, when a mage is throwing a lightning bolt at you, the best you can do is get out of the way.
Indeed. So I've heard. I've had very little first I've had very little direct contact with these people. I'm curious to know. I'm looking more for general theory, I think.
Oh, I can have them bring over the appropriate tomes. They can be here as early as tomorrow evening.
Let's just say when I see something strange or unusual, I like to know what I'm looking at.
Of course.
And a broader understanding of magical theory will hopefully supply that understanding.
Yeah. That can be arranged, of course. Would you like me to inquire about one of them actually helping you to be taught how to prepare your mind against any sort of magical attack, or to help engage you in defensive arts?
I mean, if that's possible, I would be very interested in learning such things. I
I
am a
don't
Malkavian.
I don't entirely know that it's possible, but I can certainly try.
I mean, if it's possible, I would love to learn it. I'm a Malkavian, and many people assume a mental attack is at my weakest point.
I learned a long time ago never to underestimate the power of an Arcavian.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, our itinerary in London was to get through it as quickly as possible, but in Paris we have some time to breathe after our long journey from across the pond. Yeah. So
Queen Anne doesn't exactly make London a very welcoming city.
Yes, it was the most austere and terrifying court I've ever been in.
If you had spent more time at Lee's establishment, I'm sure he would have taken better care of you. But as I understand, you wanted to come to my establishment that quicker, which I appreciate. I have big shoes to fill, and I'm always eager to have positive leanings towards coming here.
Word of mouth.
For now.
Well, depending on how this dirigible business goes, who knows when they might open a port just in Paris, so we can just skip London.
Fingers crossed. Well, there might still have to be a stopover in London, but so long as you stay on the ship because you're just being transferred over to Paris would certainly help a great deal. But first we need to make the initial travels profitable and plausible, and then design more of them.
Yes, I asked your concierge how I should best present myself to local society, and he rather chuckled at me. I'm so uptight from having just been to London.
Yes, if me kissing you on the cheeks sent the wrong image to you, then Prince Vion is not necessarily who you should be spending time with. He is very much a
he's a very hands-on ruler.
A very on clothes off ruler.
Yes, I think
he's a great deal of fun. Don't get me wrong. He and I have had many a wonderful meeting, but
I think it's not quite my kind of fun.
No. Well, hopefully you will find the guest arriving to your room to be more to your desires.
My desires are for I really do just I'm a bit peckish and would like someone to help me brush up on my French, like actually, like not as a euphemism. My pleasure is in knowledge and its pursuits. Even there, Paris offers a cornucopia of delights when it comes to history and knowledge.
I should probably inform him he misunderstood your request and have him not send a net to your room. Because while she very much would, in a real sense, help you work on your French, it sounds like you may not prefer the way that she would help you work on your French.
Oh, goodness. Yes, I understand my sensibilities are not in vogue in Paris or otherwise in the world right now, but
No. It's believe me, it's a more common misunderstanding than you would think. Everyone seems to assume that every French woman is is a loose and easy target, and that every French man is the world's greatest lover. I mean, in some of our cases, it's true, but but not in all cases. As anywhere else, people are not a monolith, I think is the phrase in English. But no, we can absolutely have someone who can help you simply brush up on your French and provide you with a bit of sustenance. Though it might be easier to have one provide you with sustenance while another helps you with French, if you would like me to go to your room.
That would be wonderful. That would be
Yes,
fantastic.
and I will...
Ironically, I have more occasion to use Greek and Latin than I do French in the United States.
and I will make a point to have Annette diverted.
Though I'm starting to think my problem is less my understanding of the language and more my misunderstanding of subtext and what is not said.
I mean, that is a problem faced by many, not just yourself.
I'm not the first confused tourist to have graced these halls.
You wouldn't be the first confused person downstairs. There's a reason why so many of them simply assume that they're acquiring sexual release these days.
Mm.
Yeah, you wince. It's not a dirty thing. It's not fun.
I'm very set in my ways.
That's...
I accept even as a Malkavian, I have my mental limitations.
Not a problem. I will have the appropriate changes made, and then we will resume our meeting tomorrow evening. Until then, hope you have a pleasant evening, and if there's anything else you need, do not hesitate to ask any of the staff. And with that, you are excused from his office and are able to rejoin the rest of your coterie, providing Isabel hasn't decided to fuck off and enjoy the Paris nightlife. But because it is 11 o'clock and we all have work tomorrow, or classes tomorrow, or what have you tomorrow, this is where we will be ending it. So, hello, chat. Thank you all for joining us. Hope everyone had fun. Hope the players all had fun, because otherwise that defeats the purpose.
We almost got there. I was wondering, yeah, maybe we'll talk about it later.
Apologies for spacing out near the end. I was just, like, tired.
Yeah.
It's been a wacky week.
Yep. And it'll only get worse from here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say that.
Dude, why? Dude. Currently looking for someone to raid. Okay, so outros. I guess I'll start. Hi. I'm at Ms. Crystal on social media, also at Magicfish Radio, and Magicfish Radio is also on Facebook, but Facebook won't let you see any of our posts, because why not? So please join our Discord to find out the latest stuff on Magicfish Radio, because, well, that's the place you're most likely to see it when we post it. We are currently looking for new cast members for this game, because schedules changed and a few people had to drop out from our initial pilot series, and now we're in the OVAs. So yeah, we're traveling, but y'all can drop in as random French kindred or random Viennese kindred or someone else entirely. Like, there's a lot of leeway here. So yeah, and ask us if you're interested in streaming this game with us. Just ask in our Discord, and we'll talk about it. We unfortunately have no money and cannot pay anyone. So if you're a professional performer and that doesn't work for you, no problem. Hang out with us anyway. We're chill. And yeah, that's what I got. We will be back on Saturday with Exit to Eden, which is Enwad in space, which similar to Mama Leone's vision of the future, only in space, and also Enwad. So nowhere spiders, but lots of different lots of different supernatural splats, working together, getting things done, and being equally persecuted by the space government that hates them. Yay?
What's the point of not having spiders?
I forget if there's spider shifters in NWAD, but it's...
There should be.
And
There should be.
shifters that are not werewolves work different in NWAD than they do in OWAD, but that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, I'm the channel producer, and yeah, we also will probably have some video game streams this week. I'm just still working out when the times are. And it's probably going to be Animal Crossing, because that's all I know how to play right now.
Go cross those animals.
Woot!
Cross them right off the endangered species list.
Do I have any endangered? I don't remember. Okay. So yeah, so that's me. I'm gonna go look for someone to raid. John, who are you when you're not 800 different French NPCs?
Hello, I'm John. I'm literally everyone else in the world, and I help produce content on Magic Fish Radio on Tuesdays. That's the only gaming-related thing I really do that involves anyone else watching. So, if you're not sick of my face and my voice yet, come on back.
Next, Dracus.
I'm Dracus. Been playing Vern. Outside of here, I exist on this channel on Saturdays during the Exit to Eden. I'm pretty active on Discord, and you can find me on Instagram as actual Dracus, just like I am in chat here. And I occasionally make short films, which might be starting up again because I'm back in school. So keep an eye out for that.
Woohoo!
Hi, and I'm Ari. Don't really have much of a presence, so I'll just keep randomly plugging things that other people have. So this time it'll be Mike Duncan's Revolutions podcast. If you're interested in finding the history of revolutions, give it a watch. I'm not paid to do any of this. I just like revolutions.
Fair and valid.
Okay. I was gonna have us raid Saving Throw Show because they were running Avatar, but it looks like they're ending their Avatar stream, so let's try... Oh, we are Nerdsmith.
Where are you?
Well, I'll be finding that out soon. Spoilers. They are running Shenanigoons, which is a D&D game. A D&D campaign that is very, very funny. So... So yeah, join our Discord. Just join it. Join our Discord.
I mean, what?
Okay, so get ready to raid We Are Nerdsmith. Until we see you again, please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. And we'll see you for more distracting nerdy shenanigans next time. Bye.